Interest rates are expected to come down, which makes buying a home a whole lot easier. But will the housing market actually improve? Let's go ahead and break it down. Interest rates are one of the most important things when it comes to buying a home because that is going to have a major impact on what that monthly cost is going to be. And the expectation here is this: when rates come down, people want to buy, right? And when people want to buy, that's going to have an impact on the supply and demand when it comes to buying a home. Now, obviously, a lot of this is going to be tweaked for the specific market that you're in. But case study from 2021, we saw interest rates come down to an historic level, and we saw people overbidding on homes by $25,000, $35,000, sometimes $45,000. And you probably saw a record amount of people on your own timeline who suddenly became realtors. We have an oversupply on realtors too. And that's not shade to realtors, but that showed you how crazy the housing market was. And here is why. We have a shortage of 3.2 million homes here in the US, which means that we need to build those homes so everybody who wants one can get one. But until we do that, there's going to be a mismatch in supply and demand, and we expect demand to pick up here in 2024 and perhaps in 2025 based on if and when the Fed does cut interest rates, which is what we expect them to do. Okay, we expect them to do that, and that's going to really shift how people are buying. But if they don't build those $3.2 million homes, or not $3.2 million homes, if they don't build those 3.2 million homes, the total number of homes there, if they don't do that, then the supply is going to stay the same, demand is going to increase, and people are going to overpay. That is going to be a major issue. So what should you do in a time like this, and how is this supposed to change, and will it change? Well, number one is the major solution, the best solution here is to build more housing. That's just it. Whether it's multifamily, more apartments, whatever, right? We should build more homes, especially for single family. We should definitely build more homes. That's really the solution here. Now, whether that is going to happen really is going to depend on exactly where you live. The other part of this is just because you build a new home does not mean it's affordable. They can build a whole bunch of new homes, but if it's $1 million a piece, that's not going to help a lot of people, right? So you definitely want to make sure that those homes are attainable for the general public. So that's number one. But if you are looking to get a home and you're trying to prepare, here are my best 3 tips for you. Number one, and look at me, okay? Do you have to buy a home? Do you absolutely have to buy a home? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because there is a lot of social pressure. There's the American dream. There's my mom had a house and all this kind of stuff where it feels like you absolutely have to do it. There are a lot of myths out there that say that to buy a home, this is going to help you become a millionaire. You're going to be wealthier than the person that rents. That is not actually true. The math is actually in the favor of the renter if you invest what you would have put in the home. Now, if you don't invest in it, it's a different story. Okay, but by renting, you're not just throwing money away. You're not going to be less wealthy if you're investing the difference. So that's number one. You don't have to do it. The reason I bought a house is because I had a terrible neighbor when I was in New York who always complained about the noise my son would make when he was walking. He just learned to walk, bro. He was like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years old, walking around, and he always complained about it. I ain't time for that, right? So when I moved to North Carolina, I was like, hey, we need to get a house so I can really just block out the noise, literally and figuratively. So it made sense for us. It was within budget. But the other part is this. We waited until the housing market came to us and we had prepared for years. This is your opportunity to do the same. Now, whether you buy in 24, 25, or even 26, the main thing is if you haven't started preparing, get your ducks in a row now. Check your credit. You can check it for free each and every year. I can put the link in the bio in terms of the description below on where you can check your credit once a year for free. But you want to make sure that your debt to income ratio is good. Making sure you have very little debt to a very high income is what the ideal situation would be. Also make sure that you're saving. You want to have as much cash available as possible when you are ready to buy a home. And I'm going to give you a few tips on where you can save that cash to and then continue to invest. You can use a portion of your investments to buy a home if you choose. There are pros and cons to that, including tax ramifications depending on where that money comes from. But it was an asset that I had to use when we were looking to buy a home. So you want to prepare as you can. The last thing I think is this. You want to make sure that the market comes to you when you are ready and you are prepared to do so. Yes, we do expect interest rates to fall this year. It's not a guarantee, and it's obviously going to depend on where you live. In places like New Orleans, you actually have a housing surplus there. Places like LA and New York, not so much, right? So it depends on exactly where you are. You want to make sure that you're researching for that. And again, make sure that market comes to you. When you have a mismatch in supply and demand, this is when people overbid and pay more than what the list price is for the home. I had to do that. Okay, it was not fun, but because I was prepared, because I had investments, because I had things in cash that were making more money, it was easier for us to say, hey, we need an extra $25,000. Let me go sell this stock, right? Let me go sell this so I can take it and go ahead and buy the home because we had it ready. Had I not been preparing for years, had I not been investing, had I not been saving my money and making sure my credit was in the right places, then we would not have been able to get the home that we have now and would have been absolutely priced out of the market. In the ideal scenario, you absolutely do not want to overpay. Okay, you don't want to overpay. Nobody wants to do that. However, I'd rather be in a situation where I can than in a situation where I cannot. And that is the main thing. So if you're looking to figure out where to put that money, where are some places to invest, then you want to make sure you check out these videos next.